Hey, Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with Suzanne Bandick. Today is the day that we work on who you need to be to have the goals that you want to have. As much as I love the tactical what to do and how to do it, boy, oh boy, if you know what to do, but you aren't the right person, or you have fears, or you don't have the right beliefs, all the what to do and how to do it will fail you. And oddly enough, if you are the right person, you have the right beliefs, it's almost always a matter of time until you are able to figure out the right what to do and how to do it. So today, Suzanne is going to tell us about how to reset your thermostat, what it is, why we have it, what controls it, and the fun part, how to increase it. So Suzanne, the floor is yours. This is fun. Most of the podcasts I do, I'm kind of coaching. When it's with Suzanne, I'm taking notes. I feel like I'm kind of just here for the audience to be like, oh, I've got a question. That makes sense. I'm here to represent you, audience, for all the questions that you'll probably have with the genius Suzanne is about to spew.
Thanks, Mike. Well, we touched on this our last podcast, just a little teeny bit. And I thought, oh, this would be really good to expand upon in a podcast of its own. So what I'd like to talk about is our success thermostat and how it controls how well we do in our life. The concept comes from Dr. Maxwell Maltz, and he was a plastic surgeon.
I was going to go heating and cooling tech with a thermostat, but completely different.
Exactly.
Actually, I know who he is, but yeah, go ahead.
He discovered that he could take someone who felt they had a really large nose that didn't quite fit their face, and they felt really bad and self-conscious about it. And he could give them the perfect nose, perfect size for their face, and it looked really good. But their self-image didn't change. They still thought of themselves as someone with a really big nose. So the concept of the fact that we have a thermostatic control, it's a built-in mechanism based on our self-perception, came to him. So let's talk about a thermostat first. If we have a thermostat in our house, it's set at a predetermined level. If it gets very cold and the temperature goes down, the fire kicks in and brings it back up. If it gets warmer, there's a cooling that kicks in so that it brings the temperature back to where we've set it. And he discovered that we, as humans, create the same thing through our self-perception. So we could be limiting our success. I'm going to talk specifically now about someone who has a cleaning company. How many employees can we have? How many clients can we have? How much revenue can we earn? How much net profit can we earn? What if this is being dictated by a predetermined level that we have set? And I've seen this happen with myself and with others. Sometimes we'll do really, really well in revenue, and all of a sudden we've increased by like $4,000 a month. And then the next month, it almost self-corrects. Now we don't do the 4,000. Now it's gone down. We lose some clients. Something happens. What if it's caused by our own predetermined level?
This is so representative of the vast majority of conversations I have. So if I may, let me just give like 3 or 4 rapid fire examples. A, so you can let me know if I'm tracking or not. And B, if it is, people are like, okay, I get it. So one, you just said on the revenue, it goes the other way as well. Oftentimes when people come in, their pricing is a mess and they're doing a ton of work and making no money. So we help them optimize their pricing. And oftentimes their top line revenue will go down, but their profitability goes up. So they're doing a lot less work and making more money, which is super fun. The most fun thing, but it's funny, even though they know it on the math, they still freak out a little bit, right? Because if you were doing, I'll just make up some numbers, you're doing 50 grand a month, making $5,000, and then now you're doing 30,000 a month, making $8,000, you still have this emotional like trauma of, oh my gosh, I lost half my company, even though you're making more money. So the funny thing is, within 2 or 3 months, they almost always get back to $50,000. And again, it's not like, obviously we're coaching them, but they have that thermostat set where like Yeah, I can just do that. So that's one. Two, everyone's heard the story of no one could break the 4 minute mile. It's physically impossible. And then the one guy did it, and dozens of people within the next 12 months hit that same thing. Lastly, I'll give two more quick ones. My first $1 million company took me like a decade to get to. My second company went to like 4.3 million in 18 months. So, and was it because I knew a bunch more? Some, but not that fast. It was just, I had the confidence of that, right? Last example I'll give that I think will hit home a little more. Um, Kim Johnson, who you remember, probably just sweet, sweet lady. And I remember how it looked and felt in this moment because it was such an impactful thing that she said to myself. It's a small group of us, high level clients, at like a dozen of us maybe, and mostly $1 million clients and up. And she had a great company. And even in this room, which is a pretty high standard room, I think many, if not most of the people looked up to her. I love them. They're great. They bought us a bunch of, they're very smart business owners. And she was just being super vulnerable, and she hadn't cleaned in years and was making a ton of money. And just most of the owners were looking up to her. And she's like, I still feel like a cleaner. Exactly like, Suzanne said with the plastic surgery, she still felt that way. So her thermostat, and she was able to get different results. But it's funny, even at that time, with people looking up to her and be like, oh, I'd give my left kidney to have your situation. She's like, I still feel like a cleaner. 47 employees, whatever the case was, still felt like a cleaner. Okay, I'm dying to hear. I love this concept because it's funny as you're talking about. I'm like, man, we deal with that so much more than I probably recognize or certainly
Yeah.
articulate. Um, and my solution is always, you should talk to Suzanne. So I'm dying to hear how do we fix that for those of us who are stuck at whatever it is?
Well, let's talk first about why we have it,
Good, good point.
right? It's it's like a protection mechanism. It's for our comfort, just exactly like a thermostat in your home. This is the temperature I'm comfortable at. I want to leave it here. So again, we're like, well, less success. Let's do when the thermostat goes down on our success. Less success. Are you kidding me? This isn't my normal level.
Mhm.
It's like the millionaire who loses everything, comes back up faster than ever, and they've got a million again. Why? That's where their thermostat is set.
But if they only had a million before, they don't go to 2 million, they go right to that million.
Exactly.
And the reverse thing, you hear all these stories about guys and gals that were poor and they win the lottery. It doesn't take many years before they're poor again.
Exactly. Because, like the nose surgery, nothing in the mind changed. They're still living at the same level. And I want to point out that it doesn't matter whether you're trying to make ends meet or whether you're already a millionaire and you want to become a multimillionaire or a billionaire. We all have thermostatic controls that this is where I'm comfortable.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth. So feel free to tell me if I'm missing the point or driving it home. I've got some unspoken fear somewhere going, oh yeah, but if I were to have $1 million cleaning company or 2 million or whatever the case may be, I'd have to work hard, or I'm not that smart, or I might lose everything. Or so there's some sort of fear of at 1 million, I feel good, but at 2 million, I might not feel good. And the risk of not feeling good is higher than the perceived value of doing what it
Right.
takes.
Right. And it's what do I do with it all? And what will people think of me? And what are all the judgments? And we can add on to the list.
What about my taxes? What about, I'll have to get investment. What are like all some silly, some not.
Exactly. Exactly. So, how do we, once we recognize, you know what, I've kind of predetermined a success level for myself. And you say, okay, I'd like to adjust that. Thank you very much.
So let me ask one more question before we
Mm-hmm.
get to that. And if you think it's not helpful, feel free to just move right on. I get we all kind of have a default, right? But my default's different than yours, which is different than Elon's, which is different than so. And again, if this doesn't matter, I'm getting off track. Feel free to refocus. But you'd think we'd all have the same, like once we get to above the poverty level, or once we get to like kind of a similar thing. But it seems like we all kind of have these different built-in thermostats. So any thoughts on A, does it make a difference in changing it? And B, why are some people like, if I can just pay my rent, I'm happy, and other people like, I've got 10 million in net worth and I feel broke because all I do is hang out with billionaires.
Let me see. To answer that, it really has a lot to do with our environment and our upbringing and our own personal thoughts.
Hmm. Okay.
And that is why we're at different levels.
So some of it may have been gifted or cursed to us kind of without our, and we probably didn't even notice it. So we just, and I think it does have a lot to do with who we spend time with. If all I do, again, I forget the name of the study, but they talk about it has so much, once you stop being in poverty, right? If you can't eat, you're kind of, actually, I think even in some levels of
Yeah.
poverty, people making, I'm just making up random numbers because it obviously depends on what part of the world you're in, but people making $20,000 a year who predominantly lived in people with people making $15,000 a year, happier than people that made $200,000 a year who lived around people that make $300,000 a year. And again, the numbers aren't important, but so what I'm hearing you say is if I was raised super poor, I may have taken that from I'll always be poor and that's my thermostat, or I'll do anything never to have that again and my thermostat gets to be ridiculous. So I have some say in it, but a lot of it's kind of imprinted on me. The what
Exactly.
is imprinted on me and what I do with that information is probably somehow how I was born and just my DNA.
Right. And a lot of it is our decision. First, I always talk about recognizing something, right?
Yeah.
It will invisibly control us if we don't recognize what's going on.
So up until today, we kind of got a free pass because we didn't recognize it. But now that we have it, now our eyes are open. It's like, all right.
Oops.
And Suzanne's going to, yeah, you got to be careful what you listen to, what books you read, what podcasts you listen. Now Suzanne's going to tell us, okay, if once we've identified from nature, nurture, probably some combination, what our thermostat's at, we can go, well, is that a good thermostat? You know, because sometimes we do have 10 million in the bank and you go, you know what? It's fun to build more and do more, but maybe I shouldn't sacrifice my family life, or maybe I shouldn't work myself to
Right.
death.
Right.
I'm not saying
So
it's right or wrong. Or I'm doing this and I want more. How do I change that bad boy?
exactly. So, first of all, check it out. If you're really happy with where you are and you knowingly don't want anything else, your thermostat is perfectly set.
Hey, Clean Nation, Mike Campion here. One of my least favorite things about these podcasts are we found that people love the show and they love the information, but when I talk to you guys in person, stuff doesn't get done. People love the podcast, but they don't take any action. If you'd like to actually implement this and get this done in your world, we have a whole team of people that do exactly that. If you go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, you can book a time with either myself personally or one of our teammates to at least help you come up with a plan to actually implement and change your life. So if you want to go from getting these good ideas in your head to getting them in your life, just book a free call with myself or my team, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk, and we can go from this one-to-many format to one-to-one and really get you some results. Excited to talk. Even for a season, I think we think like a lot of our clients kind of almost apologetically, they really crush and they're like, you know, just I took a month off. And they're like, we're gonna yell at them or somehow badger them. It's like, great. Did you pay all your bills? Yeah, of course. Do you have money left? Are you on track for your goal? Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I know I should be working. It's like, should you? So A, if your thermostat's set, don't mess with it. And B, nothing's permanent, right? I've had times in my life where people are, what's that, like work-life balance? I kind of think that's a scam. I've had times in my life where I've been unbalanced for a time, months, not years. And then I've had times where I've been unbalanced the other way. I didn't do a gosh darn thing. And I get pretty bored of that, months, not years. And for me, I'm not saying for everybody, it works okay. So just don't give yourself a life sentence for, because I think I'm going to take a break or let my thermostat sit here for a minute. You're not
Right.
committing to that for life. And the other way, if you're like, hey, I'm going to be a little extreme for months or years and my family's behind, ideally months, not years, my family's behind it, then give yourself permission to do that. Because the funny thing is, people are going to get you either way. You're a workaholic, you're too much, and they don't know you. They don't know what your goals are. And the other one, judging. How dare you just think you're rich? You can sit around and do nothing. So whatever you do, you're going to get judged. You might as well just decide what you want to do and get at it.
Excellent point, Mike. Let's do it for our reasons, shall we?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I have 3 ways that you can change the thermostat. Okay, first one is a positive self talk. Okay, what are we saying to ourselves? Again, let's recognize it. I can't do that. I could never do that. That's not me. That's not who I am. Um, we have a whole multitude of things that we say to ourselves. I'm not attractive. I'm not successful. I'm not the person that does this. Let's be aware of what we're saying to ourselves and let's start to talk differently.
And I would say the questions we ask ourselves as well. Well, what happened, or the way we answer those questions? What happens when I get rich? Who will I be? Will my friends react a certain way. Like you can ask really like, how old were you when you stopped beating your husband, Suzanne? Like that's a pretty nasty question. It's really hard to answer without sounding like a psychopath. But if I asked, why is it you and Sean have such a beautiful relationship? There's so many, just the difference of the question is going to give a lot of different answers. So be careful, not just be careful, pay attention, not just the things that you say, but the questions that you ask.
Exactly. I have actually on my desk, you asked about the right questions. How about why is it so easy for me to make, save, and um, invest money so easily? I'm looking for the question. Why am I so good at making, keeping, and multiplying money? That's the question.
So that one I want to push back on. For maybe it's my own limitations, but I'm guessing some percentage of the population. And I want to get to the other two, so I don't go too far.
Yes.
I don't like asking. I don't like quote unquote lying to myself. So for me, like I'm pretty good with money, and we do well. I feel happy about that. But I don't know that I believe the words that you said weren't like they just didn't. I would be like, I think I'm fooling myself with that. Like I don't know that I'm so good at that. Like so. What if we ask a question we don't
Mike.
believe? Is that okay or not okay?
Mike, there's a little bit of, see everybody? There's there's a little bit of your own judgment in there.
A
Okay?
thousand percent.
Because exactly. So the question is, because you're just stating it very lightly and you're looking at the ways that it could be true. Your
So
mind is going to believe, so why am I so good at making? You make great money. My, making, keeping, and what did I say the rest was? Multiplying money, right?
so
So
let me give
go
you the
ahead.
question I would ask, and you can tell me like,
Mhm.
yeah, that's watered down or work. Because again, I just don't like one of the thing that took me so long to get my mindset improved. It's not perfect by any stretch, but good. I was very much the A type driven, young, dumb, testosterone filled, like just tell me what to do and I'll go bash the wall without a lot of interest in who I need to be. And this podcast would have bored the pants off, 30-year-old Mike. So anyway, all that to say, I would probably say, what would I have to do to be the person that easily made money or made more money or multiplied money or something like that? And I'm like, I just feel there's like complete, I can get behind that. So like, we'll make an example because that one I feel is a very gray area. I'm like, what do you mean by
Okay.
multiply? And I'm not saying I'm terrible, but I'm not saying I'm great. But let's just say, why am I the best husband in the world? Like, I think I'm a really good husband. I love my wife, and I think she'd say I'm a good husband. Maybe the best husband for her, but just hands down of all the 3 billion husbands or whatever. I just don't think it's the case. So how do we like ask a question that's an effective way, but not? I don't want to like lie to myself. And I'm like, I don't believe in it. This is all hooey, right? I want to make sure for the pain in the ass 30-year-old Mike's out there going, this won't work. We give it in a format that they can swallow, or even 50-year-old Mike's kind of like, I don't know if I believe that.
Okay. So it is important to have the stepping stones. Why is it that I'm getting so much better at?
Yeah, see, I think that one I would be like, okay.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm
so if
getting, I'm improving at how I make money and keep money and multiply money. This is getting better for me. Why is it? It's right.
so it's okay to ask what question would I have to ask that I feel would be powerful and that I
Yes.
believed and could get behind. So it's
Yes.
okay if you ask a really powerful question like that's adult, that's advanced question. I'm only ready for intermediate question. Like, that's fine. Ask intermediate. Just don't ask
Exactly.
the
So
backwards question of why am I always broke or why does this always happen to me or why does
I talk
Suzanne so much smarter than me or whatever.
exactly. I talk about this all the time. I mean, 16-year-old Suzanne, I mean, I was studying psychology books,
Mm,
laying in the hammock on my parents' porch,
I
reading
can
this
picture that.
stuff. And people would say something downer and I'd just flip it around like this with no stepping stones.
Yeah, I'm sure they
They
love
were
that.
like, they were not happy. I learned not to do
As
that
much as people
pretty
want to be
quick.
around you now, maybe they're a little repellent.
Back then, I learned not to do that. Now it's the gradual stepping stones.
Yeah,
So
you're
you
one of your.
take, again, if we go back to number one of number three and we talk about positive self-talk, take something, just be aware of what you're saying to yourself. Take something and you say, that doesn't really serve me. That doesn't really make me feel good. what would feel a little bit better?
I love that. And it's a
And
stepping stone. Would feel a little bit better. I don't have to get all the way. I can just get a little way. Okay. So step one, because you mentioned
exactly.
step three, but I've only heard one. Step
Yes,
one, we got to pay attention and be intentional about what we say to ourselves, what questions we ask, how we answer
right,
those.
right.
It's so
Two,
funny. It's so obvious but no one does it. Go ahead with two.
exactly. Two is the visualization. Again, we're talking about resetting a success thermostat. We see ourselves at a certain level and we're just seeing our current reality. And if you look at your current reality, you say, well, this is life.
Hmm.
How do you get beyond that? How do you how do you raise the thermostat? You start to visualize and see yourself in a different place, a different person, your business at a different level. It starts first in the mind. And if we just take a minute of every day and picture something successful in our lives that's changing, our subconscious will slowly start to believe that whatever we're picturing is true.
And I love that you framed it with just a minute a day. Because a lot of times with visualization, I picture like cross-legged, or, fingers touching, and just like that seems overwhelming. But to
No,
just be like, for a minute a day, feel the way you want to feel
right.
and picture I'm like, I can do that for a minute. And God forbid, maybe I wander into 2 or 3 minutes, but it seems eminently doable.
Right. It's very difficult if you say, oh, just sit and meditate for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour. It's like, what? I don't have time for that.
Well, if you're ADHD, like you're just like, I couldn't buy, like I could try, but I'll be 17, I'll be gone. But for a minute, I'm like, even crazy butterfly chasers like me,
Right.
I can focus on something for a minute. And I'm guessing as I build that muscle, maybe 2 or 3 or 5 minutes can become a possibility as well.
Right. And imagine if you do that just once a day, or you do that even twice a day, just for a minute, and you visualize a different space, a higher level, pretty soon you'll be like, oh, this is natural. This
Hmm.
is my new level. This is my new thermostat. Of course it is, because I've seen myself there. How many times over the past 30 days? New level. Thank you.
Great way to fall asleep. Great way to wake up.
Ooh, that's beautiful. Okay, so number three is taking action that aligns with your new identity.
Tell me about that.
Okay, so again, you're going to look at where is it that I choose to be? So let's say a successful business owner. What does a successful business owner do? Decide for yourself what they do and start to make actions like that. Start to make your decisions from that place.
Even
Start
if
to
you're that person,
talk like that place.
what will $1 million or $10 million, whatever million
Bingo.
dollar Mike or Suzanne, what would he do? And it's so funny because I've done this where people go, I don't know how to do that. I know, but if you did, and then they'll give a very articulate, thoughtful answer. So this is a little more sophisticated way of like, you don't, but you want to be here. You're going to be here. So how would 60-year-old Mike handle this? Or,
Exactly.
I love that. So all
Exactly.
of this seems to fall under the category of just how we talk to ourselves. This is really just the conversations we have. So what we say to ourselves, what we picture in our minds, and how we again, the third one's just the same as that, answering questions as opposed to I don't know how to do that. Well, what if you did? Or
Right.
would 20 years from now you know how to do that? And say he's there, how would he handle that? Like, oh, well, he'd probably do X and Y. Like, there you go.
Exactly. Exactly. So remembering that whatever level we're at, it's based on a comfort. So let's have a look at anything that scares you about going higher in the success realm. And let's have a look at what we're thinking and how we're acting and what we're saying, what we're visualizing, because that will help us get to a new level.
Let me give a, I hate the word cheat code because it makes it sound, but this is really as close as I've seen in life to a cheat code. Be very intentional about who you spend time with because when you spend time with people like Susan, just high caliber people that support you and see that newer you, like I've heard lots of success people in the Bible. Jesus is like, I was No prophet has no honor in his own town. Ah, you're just Jesus. We know you. And it was hard for even Jesus, for crying out loud. God, he's like, these people, I can't. And very few miracles were performed. Like, Jesus is pretty powerful, not in that town, because everyone's like, it's just Jesus. Switch towns, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's
Beliefs.
Jesus. Yeah. So other people's beliefs, not even his, he knew. I think he was pretty clear. I don't think he had a lot of self-doubt, but even he was like, I just not here. So I just want to encourage you, if you can just be super intentional about, because again, I hear all that. I'm like, gosh, I know that's so good. I don't do it to the level I should, and blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, how would I circumvent that? Just hang out with people that already do that and see that and talk like that and feel that way. And that's really a cheat code. Like you can, if you're,
Okay.
and you have to double down. If you're hanging out with the wrong people, now you've got to quadruple down on your own intentional stuff because you're fighting uphill. When you're hanging out with the right people that share these beliefs, it's like, oh, that just becomes almost natural. And you're like, of course, that's how I think. So be intentional about who you hang out with, whether it's a mastermind or just finding other people that you look up to in any area of your life, right? Whether it's physical or relational or financially, find people that you love and that see you the way that you want to be seen and are living the life that you want to live. And then all three of these things Suzanne said become a lot easier because you don't have to visualize it. You see it. Like, well, that guy's not smarter than me. Look at him. He's kicking butt. I can do that.
Perfect.
Okay. Anything I'm missing before we wrap it? Yeah, go ahead.
I just have one last question I would like everybody to ask themselves. Does my self-image match my goals?
And the answer is almost definitionally no. Because if it did, you'd probably have your goals. You'd have to have, well, no, that
Or you're on your way to your goals.
Yeah, you're either on your way or it's like, yeah, but then I kicked my goals up because my self-image matched my last goal and I got there and I had to, yeah, I love that question. Does my self-image, and I would even put in there my self-talk, which is a subset of self-image, match my goals. I love that. Suzanne, I really, I got to just tell you, human to human, I really enjoy spending time with you. These are some of my favorite, it's nice to just be like, I'm getting as much of the audience and just really get to be like, here's what I would be thinking if I was in the audience. And it's just an honor to be like, oh my gosh, I actually get to interrupt and ask questions on the podcast. I'd be screaming at my phone for no reason. It's nice to be able to ask. And you're so good at this. And I love your passion and just how your care for other humans coming on to get, I'm such a huge Suzanne fan. All right, guys and gal, I just want to say that in front of everybody so Suzanne knows how appreciated she is. Okay, if this has been helpful and you're like, golly, that's great, but I feel like I need more, or I want that community, or I need more help, feel free to reach out. All we do all day, every day, is try and help owners of cleaning companies. We do a lot of calls with people that aren't clients to try and help them get where they want to be. Many want to become clients, some don't. It's fine. If you need some help, get some goddamn help, whether it's from us or somebody else. Don't keep doing what you're doing. Take some action, right? If you want some help, reach out, email me, mike@girlmycleaningcompany.com, jump on Instagram. If there's someone else, you're like, I love that guy and I always wanted to, or that gal, reach out to him or her, take some action, do something different. Get around the people that you want to be around. Appreciate your time and attention. Talk soon. Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It would mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it. And we sure appreciate your time and attention.